Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is part 2 of AEW changes.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on out here today.
Yeah, Frank, how we doing today, man?
I can't complain. I'm ready to talk about part 2 now. You know, we whetted everybody's appetite with the pay-per-view and stuff, but AEW's got so much more going on that, you know, we're just going to jump right into it. We're just going to, you know, we're picking up right where we left off. We're just going to move right into it and start talking some AEW.
Absolutely. So let's kick it off. Talk about this new TV deal they got going on with Warner Brothers Discovery.
So rumors have it, $1 billion TV deal.
A billion?
$1 billion TV deal.
Ooh,
so
billion.
I mean, if they got $1 billion, you know, for their TV rights, they're starting to swim up in WWE territory now. So, you know, they're making real money moves now doing that. So
was Ted Turner ever evaluated at $1 billion for WCW?
Billionaire Ted was there. Oh no, not for WCW.
That's what I'm saying. For WCW,
yeah, WCW never had that kind of budget. No way. But so apparently, from things that Eric Bischoff has said, there was a lot of. I mean, WCW never had its own budget. That was just Turner. So Turner budget kind of, you know, you get this, doesn't matter what you're bringing in. Here's what you allocate back out. So they may have circulated around $1 billion, but they never would have got a TV deal because the owner of the TV company owned the company. So, you know, Turner didn't have to pay WCW a nickel for TV rights because he owned both. So they just got a TV deal because they were part of the conglomerate. When Turner sold to AOL didn't want them on TV no more, so that's why WCW went away. So it's hard to compare the two. You know, and TV rights and things are different now. You know, so much different than 20 years ago anyway. But as far as, you know, getting $1 billion, there's no other wrestling company not named WWE that's done it. So they definitely made an impact with that because TNA, for example, Ring of Honor, none of them have ever came close to that kind of TV deal. So if it's true, and again, that number's just a rumor, fact of the matter is it's going to be a high number, or they wouldn't have started at $1 billion if it wasn't going to be close. You know, it ain't going to be a couple million, that's for sure. They're going to get a big TV deal because they see a lot of value in the product, and I mean, that's good for wrestling as a whole. That's great for wrestling as a whole.
So let me ask you this. So again, we are armchair quarterbacks at all of this. It's not like we got a dog in the hunt.
No.
But when it comes to $1 billion, if I'm Warner Brothers Discovery right now looking at AEW, do I look at them as if they got $1 billion price tag around their neck? How do I justify that?
The market.
Because wrestling's getting hot right now?
So because WWE just sold for $9 billion, it's hard to say that the number 2 competitor ain't worth 1 if WWE just pushed for 9.
So you're saying Vince McMahon actually helped out Tony Khan?
He helped the business. Wrestling as a whole is all benefited because a company was willing to put that much money into the product.
Okay,
I mean, you know, if Endeavor said wrestling, regardless of the initials, the sports entertainment, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of that, if they said anything in the industry is worth $9 billion, well, everybody else's price tag just jumped up a little bit.
Just went up.
I remember when sports teams used to, you know, how much did Jerry Jones buy the Cowboys for? This is one of
back in the, when did he buy them?
In the 80s?
80s, he bought them for like, I think maybe somewhere around 10, 15.
Something like that. Robert Kraft did the same thing with the Patriots.
Yeah.
How much are those franchises worth now?
Dude.
Over $1 billion.
Billions.
Exactly. So same difference, right?
Yeah.
They worked their way up, and now they're worth, if somebody was to go buy them, they'd have to pay billions for something that these men paid pocket change for, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Same thing just happened with WWE. Vince McMahon invested he mortgaged his house and put his properties up in lien in WrestleMania 1 to get the company from his, to fund WrestleMania 1. He hedged a few things to get the company from his dad a few years before, and now today it's worth $9 billion.
Yep.
It's the company, Endeavor doing that has now raised the stock of the wrestling industry, and AEW is the next closest thing to WWE to benefit from it. So they smartly took advantage of it. What's the saying? Strike while the iron's hot. The iron's hot as hell right now, and they struck, and they're gonna get paid off of it. That's smart.
If there's anything though that I hope comes out of this new TV deal, I hope they get themselves to a streaming platform, just like WWE's found their way to Peacock. And I hope it's Max. I hope it transfers over. Because,
we do, because we get Max free. So
absolutely.
Go ahead and put all the pay-per-views right on there.
I'll take that.
I'll be watching premium live events 10 nights a month. All right with me.
But with this new TV rights deal came a creation of a new show, AEW Collision.
Hey, you got to get something for your money. Did you see the Collision logo, though? I mean,
it's WCW Nitro.
They literally just fonted Nitro. Yep. So I wonder if they're going to pull out one of the old Nitro sets. I mean, well, no,
Nitro
that was Dynamite.
2.0.
Yeah, well, that was Dynamite was the old Nitro set. Maybe they'll find the old Thunder sets. Maybe they can find like the exact look of Thunder, and then they can make that be Collision.
Was Thunder the one that was kind of...
That was Thursday night. Thursday night Thunder.
Was it in correlation, though, to like the old TBS set with the gray walls?
Yeah. That's it. They had the gray walls and then the blue Thunder on there.
Nostalgia. You got to come back out with that.
I mean, they might as well. I mean, they got the whole production crew, so they know how to redo it.
Heck yeah.
But that's the thing. See, they can see Collision. The logo looks like Nitro. Make all the shit inside of it look like Thunder.
Absolutely.
I mean, now it's just a WCW mashup. Boy, we can get all our nostalgia in at one time. They bring out all the other Sting can be the first one out there. I mean, good Lord. How happy would we be?
Roll Tully and Arn back out there.
Good Lord. Yeah, well, Tully Arn can throw his ice bag out there. But I think we talked about that in episode 1. But I mean, so yeah, Arn ain't throwing nothing. So yeah, they can bring them out there. I mean, hell. So H is out there somewhere. He can wrestle Sting in a t-shirt one more time. Ric Flair's last
match. But so with this new TV show Collision, so it's set for Saturday night, 2 hours, 8 to 10 p.m.
Shotgun Saturday night.
Don't know how I feel about this, to be honest with you. I understand the wrestling TV market is saturated. You got Monday nights Raw, you got Tuesday night NXT, Wednesday night
oversaturated, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you got to pick a day and roll with it. Yeah. And obviously they're not going.
Well, they picked the only day left,
right? But they picked the day where WWE has been running their PLEs.
Yeah. So two things to look at, right? The first thing is AEW's core audience is that 18 to 49 single male, right? Mm-hmm. How many 18 to 49 single males are in the house at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night watching TV?
Not many.
Not many, right? So even when WWE runs the premium live events, I mean, you might go to a bar and watch it. Me and you get together and have, pop open some whiskey, some Eagles Rare,
there you go.
Bros Brothers. Thank you for that, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Shout out. But, stuff like that. But I mean, we're in the latter part of that 18 to 49. But I mean, their key audience is really that 18 to 35.
Yep.
You're telling me the 18 to 35 demo is going to stay in on a Saturday night to watch their show?
No, but I think it's going to wind up being just like everything else these days, and I'm guilty of it too. I DVR the crap out of
and watch it later.
Wrestling.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. But so my thing though, if that's how you do it, I mean, like you said, we do it. Everybody does it. But if you're going to do that on their primary show, how interesting is it going to be? Because you're going to find out what happened before you watch it. Nobody's going to wake up first thing Sunday morning and watch it either. So this is going to be one of them things that you may watch midday Sunday afternoon. But you've already seen the Facebook, spoilers and all that.
Therein lies the problem, because you got to make it must-see TV.
Yeah.
You can't, it's got to be bigger than, when
you've got to make people want to see it.
When you start getting into the NFL playoffs, man, they're going to be running against playoff games.
The baskall games, how many baskall games happen on Saturday
night?
Like you said a minute ago, if WWE's running a premium live event, who the hell's going, unless you don't have Peacock, you ain't watching no other wrestling than, like when WrestleMania Night 1 happens. Hell, the performers at Collision will be watching WrestleMania Night 1. That's probably what the show will be. It'll be a bunch of dudes sitting around a locker room watching WWE because they're like, man, if we can only get there, But there's so much competition for their demo in the sports world, And I heard somebody say the other day, wrestling fans will find wrestling if wrestling's on, but wrestling fans find wrestling after they find everything else. Like, let's be honest, if if Tom Brady was still playing football, would I be watching Tom Brady play, or would I be watching wrestling?
Brady. I mean, same thing on Monday Night Football. If the Cowboys are playing, I'll catch Raw the next day.
Exactly. You watch it on replay or whatever. It has to be real impactful to pull, the NFL, the NBA, baseball, all the other sports that are happening on Saturday night, plus dates, women, drinking,
right.
food. There's so many other things to be doing on a Saturday night that ain't watching wrestling. That just leads me to believe this isn't going to be what they think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's going to struggle, unfortunately, at least out of the gate. It may be hot out of the gate, but then I think it may.
It depends on what they bring.
It depends on what they bring. But, with everything that is new, goes away something else, and we have now lost the dark and elevation shows that were showing up on YouTube. They've closed the doors on those two shows. So the AEW lineup for TV deal is looking like you still got Dynamite, you've got Collision, you've got Rampage, and you've got Ring of Honor.
Who?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
So the deal is Rampage is supposed to tour with Dynamite and tape on the same night. Ring of Honor is going to tour with Collision, tape on the same night.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
shit, I'm so confused.
So also got to give a shout out to Wrestle Talk on YouTube. If you're not heard of these guys, take a listen to these guys. Look them up. Funny as hell. They do their own storylines. Great recaps as well. But they talked about when they were talking about this TV deal. They were talking about, is Rampage now the NXT? And one of their guys said, no, Rampage is turned into main event.
Yeah. Rampage is way down the card now.
And Ring of Honor will be their NXT.
I mean, let's be honest. Rampage was already way down the card. With their time slot, trying to trail SmackDown after you done already watched 2 hours of wrestling on a Friday night, nonetheless. You ain't signing up to watch 2 more hours of wrestling on a Friday night.
Confession, I've not watched Rampage in like 3 months.
I DVR it and I watch it on Monday during my downtime at work because I have nothing else going on. I like background noise.
Yeah.
I let it play in there. Then if something interesting happens, I'm like, oh, okay, I can catch it. I watch the 15 minutes of interest in and then let the rest of it play. And that's unfortunate because AEW with the roster that they have, the amount of talent that's just sitting around not doing anything. Where's Miro? We saw Miro a couple weeks ago. Where's his? Up. Yeah, but did he wrestle?
Nope.
Did he come back this week?
Nope.
Where's Andrade? We seen him?
Off with Charlotte somewhere.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that, but I mean, hey, got to do your thing. But there's a lot of guys, and we talk about this a lot when AEW comes up. There's a lot of guys not getting TV time, right? Yeah. And a lot of that's because they're, like you just said, they packaged Rampage in with Dynamite. Well, you ain't gonna fly in talent, pay all those, traveling expenses and all that for a Rampage show because they really don't care about Rampage. They need to just, they steal a lot of other stuff from the WWE. Why not take this too? They need to start making them shows brand specific and saying, and I hear that's what they're intended to do with Collision, right?
Yeah.
So my understanding is they're going to have a key group of talent that really only circulates around Collision. Cool. Do the same thing with Rampage, though. Get some guys on Rampage that are interesting enough that at least if I'm going to DVR and watch it, I'll watch it on Saturday. I'm not going to wait 4 days to watch it because I really don't care.
Yeah, and supposedly the champions are going to float from show to show, just wherever the storyline fits, whoever.
Oh, like the tag champs in WWE, even though nobody floats. Now all of a sudden we're floating like, I heard Sammy and KO are going to be on SmackDown coming up here soon. What the hell? They were drafted to Raw. I hate this. We're not going to talk about this right now because I already feel myself. I feel my blood pressure going up.
I got one more we got to talk about.
Oh, God.
I got one more we got to talk about. You got to get the women's belts on the right damn show.
Dude, how many belts does Roman have? Roman's still carrying the Raw belt while they're doing a tournament for the Raw belt. I hate this. This could have been its own podcast, but I feel like my blood pressure was going to go up and my ass was going to the emergency room tonight. So we discussed it. We're like, nope, we're not going to talk about that. Damned if it still didn't find its way into this conversation. I hate this. I hate the whole thing with the titles. I don't care. I'm done. I'm done. Okay, we're not going to talk about it no more. This title thing, it's stupid. It pisses me off. I hate it. It's stupid. It pisses me off. I hate it.
LaGreca, come get your boy. Y'all and y'all's rants. I'm telling you.
Somebody go get them. This title stuff is nonsense. I cannot stand it. I will get off that soapbox now. But
all right. Take another sip of beer. Let's change gears.
I'm out. That's the problem. When we do these 2-parters, I run out so fast. Yeah. The troubles of an alcoholic, I guess.
Miller Lite, come on. We got to stock this boy's fridge.
True that. Miller Lite should supply us before we start recording.
I'm telling you.
We shouldn't be running out. Ahem.
All right, let's shift gears. Let's get back into the AEW conversation. Let's talk about Wembley for a minute. So these jokers have sold 74,000 tickets. 74,000 tickets. And I heard today that 8 million of those dollars are American dollars. Yep.
Meaning that many people are willing to travel over to London to watch AEW pay-per-view. My goodness. I don't know how many tickets $8 million bought, but the fact that $8 million of their gates coming from across the pond for an event that we don't have a single match named for yet is astounding. Kudos to AEW on that one. Whatever they've gotten wrong, they damn sure got this Wembley thing right.
That tells you how special this show is going to be. Yep. This is going to be a groundbreaking show. I don't believe any other company outside of the WWE has drawn a venue this size. I don't think
no other company not named WWE, not named New Japan ever has 74,000 tickets sold.
I think WCW the biggest that they drew was just
47,000. That was in the Georgia Dome when Bill Goldberg won the title, and that was a dome show.
Yep.
So they had even that. They could have sold more tickets, but they chose to only sell a certain amount of tickets. And it's Atlanta. Atlanta's the home of WCW. That's like when WWE runs New York, for Christ's sake. They're in their backyard. Of course they're going to sell out in their backyard, but the fact that AEW's almost doubled what the amount of people that WCW got in their stadium with only 4 years of history under their belt. What's that saying for that? Yeah. My goodness.
So this is their second show in which that they have kind of shocked the wrestling world, so to speak. The first show of when they shocked the wrestling world is when they put on All In the first time.
That was before they were actually AEW, right? That was Cody and the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah, said they couldn't sell out a 10,000 seat arena, and they did that in an hour?
An hour. So, kudos to these guys for being able to do this. I am legitimately excited as a wrestling fan for what is about to take place. It just feels like we are on that cusp of that WCW WWE Monday Night War.
Hold on. Pump the brakes.
We're on that
Pump the brakes.
Now,
there ain't gonna be no war.
No. I don't mean TV wise. I don't mean every weekly episodic. I don't mean anything like that. What I do mean is, I feel like AEW is finally, after 5 years, they're finally on that cusp of going, hey, we are a legitimate competitor. We may not be big time, but you can't ignore us anymore either.
I don't know about that one. So
okay, all right.
So in this, I would liken WWE to like the Marvel universe and AEW to like DC.
Dude, do you know how many Batman copies sold?
I'm talking about the universe of now. I'm talking about
you're talking about the movie universe.
I'm talking about since they've been head up, because like when the old Batman, like when the '89 Batmans and all that came out, and like the Christopher Reeve Superman, that's my Superman, and Michael Keaton is my Batman. There was no Marvel back then. So I'm talking about since Iron Man 1 to today. Marvel is WWE. So and I say that I say that to say they make the same product, right? Superhero movies, wrestling, right?
Yeah.
But the quality, the production, the level of execution is eons away from each other. All Marvel and what they do is the A show, and DC and what they do is like the DC show. Let's call it like that. And I feel like we're swimming in those same waters with WWE and AEW right now. AEW, don't get me wrong, they're making a hell of an impact here with this show and just kind of what they've got cooking right about now. But again, let me bring you back to the numbers we just talked about. $1 billion, $9 billion.
I got you.
Those don't swim in the same water.
But let me redeem myself for a minute.
Okay.
All right, let me redeem myself for a minute. When I say on the cusp, what have we historically seen, though, with AEW? It's always
long-ass pay-per-views.
Yeah,
little guys
too,
carrying two big belts.
That too, but I'm talking about it's always been one step forward, two steps back.
Oh God! They're actually taking a huge leap forward for me. Like I feel like they had fell back so far after that whole CM Punk brawl out nonsense. Right. I feel like that knocked them down like 10 pegs, right?
Right.
But I feel like they've with the momentum that they've got now, I feel like they've regained like say 30 pegs. So they're 20 pegs in the good.
So this is
please don't tell me they're gonna drop pegs.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is the cusp. This is the bleeding edge of what could happen. This Wembley show is like, it's not their finish line, but it's damn sure the quarter mile and
it's a leapfrog. Right, that's
right.
For sure.
So the question is, what happens after Wembley? What do they do? Because that right there, it's either going to be a boom or a bust.
Yeah, and that's the problem with AEW. Is AEW going to have the exploding death match at Wembley?
I hope the hell not.
Where they have 74,000 people in attendance and then they shit the bed? Or are they gonna have a WrestleMania-esque pay-per-view there? That's the only two worlds that they have right now. It's either gonna be, they're not gonna fall in the middle there, because it's either gonna be a boom or a bust, like you just said.
Yep.
It's either gonna be, damn, this is almost WrestleMania, or oh my God, I traveled across the planet to see this and I want to kill myself. It's gonna be in one of those two veins of thought, unfortunately, and like you said, AEW they've swam in both pools. They've shit the bed a lot, but they've hit a few out the park. Their batting average is probably like a 287. I mean, it ain't great. It ain't Hall of Fame numbers, but it'll keep them on the field, right?
Yeah.
So that does leave a bit of uncertainty. There's no matches announced. There's a lot of tickets sold. There's a lot of hype around it. And they legit could shit the bed.
So you kind of spoke, in WrestleMania-esque. How do they make that happen? Well, our next topic, unfortunately, this man has been full of drama, but it could be their way to get it to be a WrestleMania-esque type scene, and I'm talking about CM Punk.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face facts right now. We've already discussed, and I still stand where I stood before, even though there's a lot more intrigue around him. I still stand where I said in the archives, a few episodes back. I ain't here for that. He can come back, whatever he gets into. Okay, great. If they can get a story going that'll pull me into it, I'll let myself get pulled.
The story's already there. They just got to get both sides
but how are they
big enough
that's
to
the
do
thing.
it.
How are they going to play into the story?
All you got to do is put CM Punk in there with Kenny Omega and let this be the squash match. Let this be it.
So how does that work though? I mean,
you have to have both sides.
To be able
to swallow the pride.
Edge, Matt Hardy, and Lita. They were able to take that real life stuff and make it into an interesting storyline and make a lot of money off of it.
Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle.
Exactly. They were able to put egos and all that stuff to the back and say, you know what, there's a potential to make a lot of money here. Let's use it.
Yep.
Or are you going to have, the Ultimate Warrior type stuff where he's all about just him and he can't see past himself, and it ends up tripping him up, and he stumbles throughout his whole career because of it. Because that's CM Punk's MO. I mean, let's call it what it is. MO is modus operandi for those of you out there listening who had no clue why I'm talking about Missouri. It wasn't Missouri. But that's what CM Punk's known for. He's known for creating all the controversy that gets everybody interested, and then getting in his own way and making it all about him, letting his ego get out of control, and then nobody gives a shit anymore. And I mean, he's reached that point with me already. And I mean, again, I'm a Chicago person, so I'm a CM Punk fan by nature because he represents my city. But when you start doing, you can only screw me around, so many times before I'm like, you know what? Go screw yourself.
So let me jump in there with you. I'm right there, lockstep with you. I feel the same way. I'm tired of the bullshit, tired of the drama. I'm tired of that whole deal with CM Punk. Not to get on a personal tangent, but I don't like that in my personal life. I don't deal with people's bullshit. I don't want to watch it on my TV.
Exactly.
I just want to see a good story presented.
Not the real stuff,
right?
Not that backstage stuff. Because it lets it go. So, wrestling is a soap opera. So anybody who's watching it, we like the drama.
Yeah, I like the drama.
The story
drama.
Right? Yeah. Where there's intent, there's somewhere where it's set to go. And I said this on an episode in the archives. For those of you who are listening, you've heard it. Those of you who ain't, go back in the archives and listen. If somehow or another this was a work and all these guys were in on it enough. Now, I get it. Now, we know for a fact there's some personal stuff in there. But if all these guys were in on it enough, like, hey, this is going to create biggest, best storyline in wrestling, that'll overtake the bloodline. If this could be a real thing that they have worked, this would be bigger than the bloodline. Absolutely. This would be historic, monumental type storytelling. But I also said in the archives, I don't see anybody in AEW having the foresight to have made this happen in that way and made it play out the way it was. What I do see, though, is CM Punk being CM Punk.
Yeah.
And doing CM Punk things and doing CM Punk things and everybody else around him just burns because he is all about him. That's what I see, and that's I said, I don't know if I said this before, but he's like Kanye West. I mean, maybe it's a Chicago thing, and it may be at me too. I don't know, but he's the Kanye West of wrestling. He'll go out there and say anything, take everybody down around him with him. But because he's the quote unquote star, he'll ascend off and leave those other guys left to burn, and it's unfortunate, but I feel like that's where we're going now. Hell, it doesn't look like he left Ace Steel out there to burn. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. At least if he's standing up for Ace saying, hey, I dragged you into this nonsense, so I'm going to at least get you some work.
Get you some work back.
That's cool. But from what reports are saying now, it seems like, him trying to stand up for Ace Steel may have got both of them's asses out on the Collision show.
Yeah,
now.
Warner Brothers seemed to not like that. And they dropped him from some of the promotions that are the promotional flyers that he was attached to Collision with. This is what we're hearing, the Wrestle Talk and
that could be a work. Now, whereas I don't see them being smart enough to work the first stuff, I do see them smart enough to work this.
Because, the internet was pretty hot on the fact that, you're starting a new show, Collision. Oh, it's in Chicago.
Yeah, and I feel like they may have been like, okay, the secret's already out. Yeah. Let's try and swerve them a little bit. It's got to be a swerve, bro. A swerve, bro. Shout out to Vince Russo. No shout out. No shout out. But no. So I could see this being a work. The whole bigger picture thing, if it could have been a work, great. This being a work, it's good. Punk coming back as some kind of surprise. That'd be cool, but am I there for it? Am I going to tune in on a Saturday night to watch? No, it's just not going to happen. Like I said, you can tell, if Punk does return, I'll have heard it on Facebook and I'll have gone on to go look at it later. Yes, I'm old. I use Facebook, but I'll have gone on to look at it on a record. But the first night of Collision, unless there's a whole lot more on the marquee, I won't be sitting at home to watch it.
Nah, it'll be DVR'd.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Last little bit here, let's talk about this rumor that we keep hearing involving the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre.
Uh-oh.
So, everybody's saying, why is
Galloway?
What? Yeah. Why didn't he get drafted? Where
he got drafted? He got drafted to Raw. He got drafted to Raw. He ain't showed on Raw yet, but he's injured. Yes, I'm doing the quotes. He's injured. So
yeah. I mean, the reports came out he was unhappy. This, that, and the other.
Contract now, numbers.
Contract negotiations, and by all means, never going to smash a wrestler for trying to do the best that they can with their contract.
Oh no, absolutely not. Yeah, that's his job. That's his only job.
Make that money, provide for that.
That's his only job. The wrestling comes secondary to your contract. Yeah. His only job is to get the best deal he can get for himself.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's your bread and butter. The rest of it is all whatever.
So whether that's in WWE or whether that's in AEW, could you see him having some massive feuds in AEW?
So here's the thing, right? So first off, on the Drew thing in WWE, with his contract coming up, I feel like his contract coming up when this whole sale conversation came up, I feel like that screwed him in the in the long run. I feel like he would have got that same money he was looking for, because let's face it, he can't be looking for Roman money. I mean, but
before the sale, you're talking.
Yeah, before the sale. Had he been going through these negotiations last year before Vince, was before that whole Vince nonsense, let's say that.
Right.
Had he been going through this conversation then, I feel like it would have been a no-brainer. Like, yeah, we're going to sign you. They always said Vince never made any promises. So, you'll be upper mid-card type level. I could see you maybe getting another run, that kind of conversation. And then him saying, okay, I just want to be paid along the lines of my contemporaries, the Bobby Lashley's, the Sheamus's. Because, again, everybody ain't going to get Roman money. And that ain't out there for that. But to Drew's point, you see a guy like Cody come in and get, a lot of money coming in the door. And you're saying, well, hell, Cody only followed my blueprint, because, Drew did what Cody did 10 years before Cody. He went and he got released. Cody left, a little bit different there, but same thing. Went and reinvented himself on the, on the indies, on the slow market, made himself a name, came back, got a big payday, ascended to the championship. Cody is just going in that same model that Drew created, but when you're Drew, you're looking at it like, well, yeah, but when I came back, I didn't get XYZ amount. I went to NXT.
Yeah.
I had to build myself up again and earn my key. This guy came in and you just kind of gave him the key to the city on his day one. Maybe I want a little piece of that pie. I wouldn't be mad at him for that.
Drew lost that push. He was being pushed heavily in the main event scene, and he lost
was during the pandemic.
Yeah, but he lost that push, and he got relegated down to the intercontinental scene. And by no means am I saying that that's a lesser scene, because
but it is
the stuff that they're doing with Gunther right now.
Yeah. But it's still not the main event.
It's not the main
event. But it wasn't his fault. I mean, he was the chat. He carried the company during the pandemic when there were no fans in the crowd.
Yep.
So we don't know what kind of reactions he would have been getting. We don't know what kind of money he would have drawn. We don't know what would have been, because, his title reign was over by the time fans got back. So he kind of got jobbed there. So same thing, though. I mean, he was a soldier for the company during the pandemic. Roman was gone.
Yep.
Roman, who's the biggest thing in WWE since John Cena, he was out of there. He was like, hey, I got kids. I got, my health ill. I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm out. And, he left Drew to, be the guy. And I mean, Drew, he took up the mantle, and he finally lived into the potential that they saw in him, to the fullest. Unfortunately, he did it while there were no fans there. So I don't feel like it's fair to grade him on his title run like you kind of do other people, like the Kevin Nashes and the Bret Harts that always say they didn't really draw. I feel like it's definitely not fair to say that, about Drew, because we have no idea. But I do feel his pain on saying, hey, all that I did during this, when it wasn't an ideal time to be the champion, I took up that mantle and did it. I now deserve to be compensated for that. I 100% agree with that. Pay that man. So if they're not going to pay him, to your question, there's a million feuds in AEW that Drew McIntyre could come in. I mean, first of all, he'd be the biggest guy on the roster, bar none.
Yeah,
so he should
big joker.
He should come in and win the championship day one. So
smash MJF.
So I was gonna say, if he could get it, I don't know how his contract is. I don't know the time frames or anything like that. But could you imagine if he could get himself to Wembley, and they had just like an open title shot with MJF, like they did with Cody and the secret, know. Could you imagine if Drew came in his country, won the belt from MJF, because he'd demolish MJF, he'd Claymore him right out of the building in a matter of minutes. Could you imagine the pop for that? I mean, Tony Khan would be crazy not to give that man Cody money. I mean, because he would be the guy that would take their show to the next level.
Yep.
Because again, they don't have a guy like that. They got a lot of ex-WWE guys over there, but they don't have a Drew over there.
Yeah, the future is still bright for him. He's not like old. He's not exactly young either. So
no, but he's hot.
He's hot. I mean, he's had that push, and the fans want it. So whether he lands, the best to him. I'll watch him on either promotion.
Absolutely,
I'm a fan of the dude.
No matter what channel he's on, I'll watch it. The only thing, I don't think he's taking Vince's sword to AEW. I feel like that part of the gimmick's gonna have to stay back. So
yeah, that might have to stay there.
If he gets Vince's sword on AEW, though, kudos to him.
And he throws it in the trash can like a lot of
or what if he chops the rest of the throne that Cody left out there? What if he just chops it down with Vince's sword? My God.
See, that's why we're called the Bookers Alliance.
Oh yeah, mean, and we didn't take time to think that out. That came right off the dome, guys. We got ideas all day in here.
So with that, we're going to wrap up this episode. This was a 2-parter. So we appreciate.
This was fun. I missed this.
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys listening. Thank you. And feel free to reach out to us on our social media platforms. Drop us a line. If you're excited about AEW like we are, share your thoughts. Hey, if you think that we're talking crazy out of our heads, hey, let us know. Don't mean you're right, but just let us know.
Yeah, that get a good conversation started, but we'll end that conversation.
All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.